Very good afternoon to all of you. Okay, so you see this gentleman on the screen? He is the person on the basis of whose work we are having discussion since yesterday. He is Gary Becker, the Nobel laureate in economics, the economics of crime. Okay, thank you. Now, since yesterday, we are listening to eminent speakers and scholars on the topic of the seminar, interface between crime and economics, a human rights perspective. And most of the speakers dwelt on economic analysis of criminal law. But then I view today's subject of discussion, as I was bestowed with the responsibility to be a plenary speaker, I will leave some food for thought for the House, which will be deliberated upon, hopefully, by the panel discussions, or sorry, not panel discussions, by the paper presenters. So one aspect is economic analysis of criminal law, Posner's economic analysis, Gary Becker, the Nobel laureate, how he used the tools in economics to analyze criminal law or to sort of justify punishment or other deterrents in crime. But then, along with that, I would like to throw another shaft of light to this topic. Socio-economic conditions as reasons of crime, which my chairman just now hinted upon. Ki manush crime kore obhabe na shobhabe. And the third shaft of light which I would like to impress upon or sort of encourage you to think upon is politics versus economics. And the result of which, the crime which we observe or which we see. And that will be the most interesting part of today's discussion. So, this Posner's theory of economic analysis of laws, be it contract law, be it economics, be it criminal law, all that detailed discussion we had. See, this is interaction with Gary Becker. See, the question put to Gary Becker was, this was just to make it a little simpler, this economic analysis of crimes or criminal. So I understand this was the question put to Gary Becker, so I understand the first paper was inspired by a particular event. Can you tell us what that was? Now see, Gary Becker replies, can you read this? Okay, I'll just read out. I was teaching at Columbia University and I was driving to an oral exam with PhD students. The question I asked myself was, should I park closer in a spot that was illegal, or should I park in a lot which was somewhat further away? So I had to make a calculation. What was the likelihood that I would be caught if I parked it down the street versus the time, the money that would be lost by parking further away? Cost benefit analysis. If I break the law, how much would I lose? And if I do not break the law, how much would I gain? I decided to park on the street, and since it was an oral exam, the first question I asked the student, when my turn came to examine them on price theory, was how he could handle a problem of this type. He asked the PhD student that if you have this problem, would you break the law or would you not break the law? So it sums up in this that if the advantages of not breaking the law outweigh the advantages of breaking the law, people will follow the law. The utilitarian theory. So you will have to devise incentives or incentivize people not to break the law by providing incentives which outweigh the disadvantages of breaking the law. But then that is a pure economic analysis. But even after this, if people break law by habit, how would that be explained? So, there was time in political economy when criminologists did not even pay any heed to this economic analysis. Other social disciplines were important, but not economic analysis. And habit or, social values or the collective social wisdom was considered to be the guiding factor of whether an act is a crime or not. Or when the tort becomes a crime, that was considered to be the only factor and not these economic factors. But then, so this was all discussed threadbare yesterday also. Now let me come to the socio-economic conditions as reasons of crime. That people often feel that crime is a result of poverty. Crime is a result of discrimination. But then, if you look around you, who are plundering the people of this country? Now, whenever I think of this, I cannot withstand the temptation of sharing Tagore's thought. এই জগতে হায় সেই বেশি চায় আছে যার ভুরি ভুরি রাজার হস্ত করে সমস্ত কাঙালের ধ্বংস এই বাবুদের always they eye the upens of the society. বাবু কহিলেন বুঝেছো উপেন এই জমি লইব কি? So these babus, they are well off and they are always on the other side. Why do they always have this tendency to usurp the wealth of the upens? So this is something which cannot be explained by this socio-economic theory that because people are poor, people are school dropouts, that's why they commit crime. Because see, the so-called white-collar crimes, that affect the society much more than a theft or a dacoity or some other crime, or even a murder. So how do you explain that? A Ponzi scheme, you have Ponzi schemes all over the country, more so in Bengal. I don't know why the specific reason Bengal is more prone to it. Now if you analyze, you will find that poor people, abjectly poverty-stricken people, who could barely hand-to-mouth people, they are the worst affected. And huge sums of money have been siphoned off to well-placed people in the society. Now, if I say most of them are politicians, some in the house may sort of protest against me or say no, I don't think anyone will protest because we all know that. And it is manifested by something else. This is another food for thought which I was discussing on the table yesterday with Sir and others. There is something very strange. I don't understand why this has not caught the attention of thinkers. If you see election nomination papers filed by politicians, voluntary declaration of assets worth 100 crores. Nobody asks them that by doing 10 years, remaining 10 years in the politics, from where did you earn this money? Which is the business model? Please share it with us. We will make it a case study in the MBA curriculum. Cutting across political parties. Cutting across political parties. If say I have first filed nomination for election, say in 2010, my net worth was say 2 crores. The same candidate filing nomination in 2015 is worth 50 crores. What is the source of income? From where are you getting the money? Because everything is, linked to sort of this undisclosed source of earning. And that is actually eroding away into the economy of this country. Now, how to sort of control this by law? Is it possible to control it by law overnight. Now, Boris sir and me, we always discuss these things. And sir is a bit, he frames everything from an epistemological point of view. But then, from a pragmatic and practical aspect, see, we ushered in parliamentary democracy in our constitution, by which the people are the sovereign, because the constitution begins with we the people. And we the people, they decide who will be in the government for the next 5 years. Now, the mandate which we the people give to these people who will rule us, if say a portion of them or part of them, if they maneuver and manipulate the resources, it is not only a crime which they commit, but it is a fraud on the constitution, because it directly interferes the provisions for economic justice under Article 39 small b and small c. The resources of the states shall be so distributed as to serve the common good, which by interpretation of the Apex Court has been given a higher pedestal even to Part 3. We all know Article 31b. Any law enacted in furtherance of Article 39 small b and small c, notwithstanding it violates Article 40 in Article 21 is valid. We all know that. But by not acting against it or by remaining silent, much of the evil which you see around you is not due to the noise of the bad, but to the silence of the good. The leaders who claim to be, very tall and 56 inchi chhati and all that, even if I keep silent and quiet, when I see my colleague being made the secretary of the BCCI, when I take the moral ground of dynastic politics, where am I? So, politics versus economics. I am coming to the last part of my discussion. Politics and economics have always been foes and never friends, especially in a country where we have multi-party democracy. And multi-party democracy in our country has resulted into a criminal breach of trust of the voter, of the common man on the street. Because if you calculate backwards in a multi-party democracy, the people who are at the helm of the affairs are the people whom most of the people don't want. You want me to prove that? Say 3 parties are contesting elections, A, B and C. A gets 40% of the votes cast. B gets 30%, C gets 30%. Who forms the government? A. 30 plus 30, 60% people don't want it. So there should be an immediate amendment in the constitution that no post-poll alliance. If I have voted for A, I have voted against B, whom you were contesting. Now after election, if you shake hands with B, you are committing a fraud on me. It's a criminal breach of trust of the voter. So see, economy and politics, they have been made foes by our politicians. But then, we ought to vote for that politician who takes decision on the basis of economics. There are a few silver linings in this gloom in our country. I am not naming anyone while I am speaking. All of you can make out. How to stop corruption in public life. Some of them have shown us the way. You see, the water supply condition in Delhi. 30% of Delhi since independence did not have a pipeline. Water was being supplied by tankers. Now on deeper investigation it was found that per month these tanker owners pay a bribe of 15 lakhs to the MLA of that constituency. What was the economics of this corruption? And they stopped their pipeline in the Delhi. See the electric supply situation? So, politics and economics, those politicians who take decisions in polity on the basis of economics are the real well-wisher of the country. But then, politicians who take decisions oblivious of economics, they do only politicking and not politics in the real sense of it. So that was some food for thought for the rest of the discussion. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.